Well, there's no question that the political landscape here in the Garden State this year was filled with many twists and turns. And as we get ready to say goodbye to 2019, here's a look back at some of the year's biggest political stories. When talking Garden State politics, it's hard to avoid the Democratic Civil War between Governor Phil Murphy and Senate President Steve Sweeney, who just don't see eye to eye on numerous issues. And never was that more evident than when Murphy's proposed $37.4 billion state budget proposal this summer wanted to raise $1.7 billion in revenue, largely by enacting a millionaire's tax and restoring the sales tax to 7%. Sweeney's budget, however, wanted a 2-year surcharge on the corporate business tax, which he considered a windfall from the Trump tax cut.
If we're going to have to tax something, tax corporations that got $2.9 billion for doing nothing. The money fell from the sky.
There was also no love lost between Governor Murphy and Democratic power broker George Norcross, the same George Norcross who called Murphy a liar and politically incompetent. The governor retaliated by targeting Norcross with a commissioned inquiry into the state's multi-billion-dollar tax incentive program, which Murphy thinks is being violated by Norcross.
There are always going to be those that are opposed. Some are against everything and for nothing, except mom, apple pie, and the American flag.
Norcross was also at the center of one of the year's other big stories, when state police dragged anti-Norcross activist Sue Altman out of a committee hearing in which Norcross was testifying in defense of his use of the state's tax incentive program. On the national stage, Democratic Senator Cory Booker of Newark threw his hat into running for the party's presidential nomination.
We're going to fight for the grassroots. We're going to fight from coast to coast. We're going to fight from the Gulf states to the Great Lakes. And if we stand together and fight together and work together.
Unfortunately, Booker fell well short of qualifying for the year's last debate. Then, of course, there was the conundrum of South Jersey Democratic Congressman Jeff Van Drew, who was not only one of the few Democrats to vote against impeaching President Trump, but also decided to jump ship to the Republican Party. Ironically, before becoming congressman of New Jersey's 2nd District, Van Drew was the Democratic state senator for District 1, which the Republicans completely flipped during November's off-year election, as voters rejected Democratic incumbents handpicked by Van Drew to continue his legacy. Speaking of South Jersey, Atlantic City was certainly not void of political shenanigans in 2019. Former Mayor Frank Gilliam Jr. was forced to resign after pleading guilty to defrauding one of his own charities. Meanwhile, up north, the powers that be spent a lot of their time just trying to get the lead out, literally. Newark Mayor Ras Baraka found himself not only in the middle of a political firestorm, but also feeling the heat from Newark residents and the media for his bungling of a long-festering lead water problem in the city, which came into dramatic relief in the summer of 2019 when the city was forced to distribute bottled water. And finally, 2019 ended right here in Senate chambers, where lawmakers tackled several hot-button issues. For one, passing the referendum on legalized marijuana usage in New Jersey, something voters will get to vote on here in 2020. Extending driver's license and ID privileges to the state's undocumented immigrants. But they closed out the session by pulling the very controversial religious rights exemption from the mandatory schools vaccination bill. And so, as we say goodbye to 2019, I'm sure 2020 will offer plenty of intrigue. After all, it is a presidential election year. In Trenton, for Jersey Matters, I'm Phil Andrews.